Larger and larger parts of the economy are now controlled by Iran's traditional.
At United Against Nuclear Iran, we design programs to ensure Iran's economic and diplomatic isolation until it abandons its pursuit of nuclear weapons, support for terrorism, regional destabilization, and human rights violations. Our advocacy efforts have had clear results, depriving revenue to the Iranian regime and influencing policy. One of our key focus areas is our work to disrupt Iran's attempts to generate profits from oil sales through its shipping industry and impede the regime's efforts to circumvent oil and gas sanctions. The results? UANI has successfully stifled Iran's efforts to illicitly deliver oil and gas products, effectively serving as the unofficial watchdog of U.S. sanctions. For instance, following UANI's intervention, 21 oil tankers that were used to transport Iranian oil were decommissioned after losing classification, insurance, or having a flag change. This deprived the Iranian regime of more than $1 billion in oil revenues. UANI also deters companies from doing business with the Iranian regime. We systematically counsel, caution, and compel existing and would-be commercial partners, highlighting the myriad legal, financial, and reputational risks of doing business with Iran. For example, UANI infiltrated the 2022 Iranian Oil Show in Tehran, uncovering the participation of international companies in the heavily sanctioned Iranian oil and gas sector, some of which manufacture equipment and materials used for military as well as civilian purposes. These companies are at risk of violating not only U.S. secondary sanctions against foreign business entities doing business with Iran, but are also recklessly endangering their reputation, their commercial viability, and their employees' livelihoods. UANI also advocates for human rights, holding the Iranian regime responsible for violations and raising awareness of abuses such as the taking of hostages. In January 2022, UANI senior advisor Barry Rosen, a survivor of the 1979 through 81 Iran hostage crisis, traveled to Vienna, where the Iran nuclear negotiations were taking place, and initiated a hunger strike, calling for the release of dual nationals and foreign citizens jailed in the Islamic Republic. After meeting with government delegations, including Austria, France, Germany, and the European Union, as well as multiple meetings with the U.S. government, Rosen ended his hunger strike on January 23rd after U.S. Special Envoy for Iran, Robert Malley, stated that the U.S. is unlikely to strike an agreement with Iran without the release of U.S. hostages. To educate the public on Iranian policy and politics, UANI engages in research, including public opinion polling, and publishes online resources and reports. Many of our members are thought leaders, sharing their in-depth knowledge and analysis with media from around the world. Our sincere hope is that one day Iran will abandon its nuclear ambitions, stop its support for terrorism, and respect the human rights of its citizens. Until then, UANI will continue to lead the fight to isolate the Iranian regime, both diplomatically and financially. With your support, UANI can continue our efforts to educate, advocate, and hold Iran accountable for its nuclear ambitions and brutality against its neighbors and citizens.